So, Christina Dudley, who's written some of my favorite Sweet Regency
Oh.
romances, it's hard to find them. It's hard to find good ones that are not sort of laden with sex. I don't mind reading it sometimes, but I'm more
Right.
interested in the story than what
Uh-huh.
they do in
Uh-huh.
bed together. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I was thinking that they're really I obviously I don't do sex scenes, but um since I'm in the genre I'm in, but I do think there must really be a skill involved to be able to do it without I don't know, like even when I had to do a kissing scene, it's like, oh, how am I going to make this, different from other kissing scenes that I've written 100 times? And so I think it must be like twice as hard with sex. But
Yeah. I mean, the good ones, I don't know. That's another reason I don't do it myself because I don't feel like I'm capable of writing a good sex scene.
yes, me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. But I've been reading, do you know Mary Balog?
Oh
Who,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
She writes
Yeah.
really good sex scenes.
She writes really good everything.
Yeah, she does.
So yeah. Yeah, because
Absolutely.
she really puts a beautiful in-depth story around it too, right?
Yeah,
So if you really want sex, you can find it, but if you're there kind of more for the story, you can find it.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. No, yeah, I love her stuff. I'm working my way through all of them. And it's interesting to see how she focuses her different series. So
Hmm.
let's get back to you.
Okay. Okay.
So tell me, what drew you to doing this genre anyway, the Regency romance?
Oh my gosh, it was such a roundabout thing. I think because because you're at the conference, I talked about writing for a hobby as a while and writing as a hobby for a while. And I had written this, and I cannot even remember why I did it. I had written this contemporary adaptation of Mansfield Park, which so many problems, right? I mean, it's everyone's least favorite Austen novel, right? It has a very unsatisfying ending if you're there for the love story, which I usually am.
Yeah.
And I think I was like, oh, I'd love to tell it from her point of view and give it a better ending. And so I did that, and I discovered what I probably already knew in a corner of my mind, that there was this rabid group of readers who loved Austen and basically wished the woman had written more than six novels before she died, right?
Hmm.
And so, I mean, it kind of spawned this whole genre of people who just want to spend more time in that world
Hmm.
and ha- hear stories kind of like that. Um, so after I sort of got introduced to this whole Austen fandom, I thought, well, when I was a teenager, early teenager, like 12, 13, 14, my sister and I, we went through this total rabid Regency romance phase. And I remember we'd go to Walden Books every week and we'd see what were the new ones that came out. This shows my age. We'd go to the library and we'd just grab a stack of the latest. And so I thought back to that and I was like, you know what? I'd love to write one of those. This is in 2013. And so in 2013, I wrote my first Regency, and then I wrote the second in the series. And really, it was just kind of friends reading it and things like that. I did reach out to the people who knew about the Austen adaptation and blah, blah, blah. And they read it too. And that was great. But it wasn't really a thing um, I really worked hard at for years. And again, as I mentioned at the conference, I had three kids, two of them teenagers, and I didn't have bandwidth. And so really it was a very long, slow process. But here I am now. The
Yeah.
kids are, I mean, they're older, they still have issues, but they're older, right? And so I get this writing time, and I'm just having a lot of fun now to be able to focus on this stage and just write and write and write and come up with a family and then just follow their adventures.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you've hit on so many things. One is that the just the joy of writing in this time period
yeah.
and writing to a happy ending as well,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole idea of a series, your series, you've got these different, the Ellsworth
That right,
Escarpment and the Hat Goods of
right,
Brownlee, and those are the two.
right.
Is there another one there?
My latest series is called Lord Dear's Dependents, and it's it's another impoverished family, and a benefactor sort of takes them under his wing, and so it follows the all the little stories of the impoverished kids.
Okay.
So,
So here's a question, a technical question for
yes.
you. You have kids of different ages. So therefore,
Hmm.
when they get to the age where they're interesting
Hmm.
for romance, you've got
Yes.
time passing. How do you handle
Yes.
that
Yeah.
in terms of the research and what's going on and all that sort of thing?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So with three series, you'll find the first one I just started when I started, and it was almost kind of random. And then I ran into the problem of, oh my gosh, what year am I in now? Right. So then with my next two series, I deliberately set the clock earlier so
Hmm.
that as they aged, I wouldn't go so far into, I didn't want to kind of get into the wives and daughters age
Hmm.
of Gaskell,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
once you're getting into
One of my
1820s,
favorite
1830s.
books. Yes.
Yes. Oh, I know. I know. It's so funny. We're so predictable, right? Everyone who loves Austen loves the same
Gaskell.
Elizabeth Gaskell, right? And so, do you read Trollope too?
Yes, I read Trollope and Fanny
Yes.
Burney and Fanny Burney.
Okay. Yes.
I've read them
You
all.
know, okay, exactly. So this is what I'm talking about. So yes, that's what I do. And then yeah, I do have to do a little figuring out all the time because you'll skip a couple years to get to the next character and then you have to figure out, okay, now what's happening in the world, right? So
Yeah.
there is a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. What also I love is that at least the ones I've read so far really mainly take place in the countryside rather than in London, in at the town in London. And it's also not the haut tone. It's
Right, right.
below that. Can you talk a bit about why you decided to do that?
Well, you're probably familiar with Austen's quote where she said to her niece, right? Oh, just take a few families in the country and talk about their interactions and that sort of thing. And so I was thinking, I think it probably comes out of my love for Austen. Austen is not running amok with dukes everywhere and that sort of thing. And she really does just take a few families and I love all the London books too, right? I went through my whole phase. And I do have a few books that have scenes in London or are set in London or Bath or those sorts of places. But but yeah, I think just to kind of keep things, I really like to dig into a place. So I do like to kind of figure out what's going on. And I wanted them to be, I don't know, you wouldn't say realistic because
Yeah.
I mean, it's not realistic that everyone in a family will marry happily and well,
Yes.
right? And that everyone will get along for the most part and that sort of thing. And that's part of the fairy tale. But
Yeah.
but I did feel a little more confident as well about, we were talking maybe before this interview began about the kind of Regency does have its share of stickler readers, right?
Mhm.
And once you get up into the upper echelons, you start to have to deal with more etiquette questions and how do you address so and so? What is so and so's child addressed as, right? And all that sort of thing. And I mean, maybe it was just laziness on my part to just start lower down,
I don't
you
know,
know?
because you then had to go, you also went into different places like Winchester for the Ellsworth assortment. That
Yeah,
involved a
yeah,
lot of research into the hierarchy of the cathedral and all that kind of
yeah.
thing. So
Oh, but that was Trollope, right? Because I
yeah.
loved the
Mhm.
whole Barchester series.
Yes, yes.
And so yeah, that one had a lot of inspiration because it's like, oh, I'd love to do a cathedral town because then you have a different kind of hierarchy
Hmm.
and you have a lot of gentlefolk who have a lot of possible jobs, right? Things they could be doing. So I did like working in Winchester. And it was just, when I went to visit, I just love Winchester.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I got my
Mhm.
favorite dish towel from there. It's a Jane Austen characters and the cathedral, and I just love it. So,
Nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I would that the next question I was going to ask is, do you travel to the places so you have a sense of them? Yeah.
I do, though, right now my current series is set in a little village of Iffley, which is right outside of Oxford. Now it's just a part of Oxford, but I've been to Oxford, but I haven't specifically been to Iffley. And of course, the church is still there, and all sorts of places that I mention. And so that's next on my to-do list
Mhm. Yeah.
is to drag everybody to Oxford and go have a look.
Yeah,
So,
I'm way overdue for going back to the UK. I lived in London for 10 years.
oh wow.
Yeah, and both my daughters were born there, and that sort of
Uh-huh.
this was back between 1976 and 1986. So a lot has changed. And I have friends there. And and before I started writing Regency, I had never set a novel in England. Even though I lived there for 10 years, I had Paris, Vienna, Russia, all these places. But so I'm like, yeah, I need to do a research trip, and I'm almost afraid to because I don't want to dispel the image I have from back then. But anyway, another question, how do you work during the day? What's your process for writing?
Oh, my process is changing a little bit because with my last book, I was just taking forever. I don't know why it was taking me so long. And so somebody online suggested like let's do 100K in 100 days or something like that, where you basically write 1,000 words a day, which some people can do in their sleep, right? But I am not that sort of person. I'm kind of, if I know exactly what I want to happen in the scene or the chapter, I can be pretty quick about it. But normally I'm just figuring it out as I go along. And so I'm really actually kind of slow. But I said, okay, I've got to finish this book. I am going to do this challenge. And it actually helped me finish the book on time.
Mhm.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to keep going with that for my next thing and just see, right? And so now my process has changed. Now I am trying to do on the days I am writing, I'm trying to do at least 1,000 words. And it sounds very mechanical, but it's working for me because sometimes I don't always make it. Sometimes I'm just blah, just wrote a mess and I basically none of it works and I have to throw it away and I have to start again. But it has been helpful for me to just make me sit down and make the effort. So
Yeah.
so I have a part-time job. I usually do that for a few hours in the morning and then I kind of write around it. So and then when I hit my 1,000 words, I and I stop.
Yeah.
So unless I'm really on a roll. So no, that's
Yeah.
kind of how about you? I know you don't want to talk about yourself, but I'm curious.
Oh, okay. Well, it's interesting because I have a business as an editor and a book coach. So I work with other authors, and it's running that business takes a lot of bandwidth and brain space. So I
Yeah.
used to be an early morning writer, but now
Uh-huh.
I find that if I've got that stuff weighing on me, I have to get it out of the way before I can sit down. So now I've turned
Uh-huh.
into, get to 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like I can just put that away and do the writing. And I also started, which is really bad. You're not supposed to do this, bringing my laptop to bed when I go in, get to bed at 9 o'clock and actually writing for about an hour. And yeah, yeah.
I'm
I'm
amazed.
it's just, you know why? I never used to do that when I was writing historical fiction, but I think that I'm getting so passionate about writing in this
Uh-huh.
genre that I just can't wait
Hmm.
to get to it. And I
Oh.
mean, I just finished the first draft of the fourth
Mhm.
book in my series,
Wow.
and it took me, I started on May 11th and I got the first draft done on August 4th,
Wow. Wow.
which is way faster than I used to write for sure. And if I get on a roll, I go. But of course, I'm
Uh-huh.
now it's editing time. It's figuring out
Yeah.
what has to change
Right.
and all that. But I have this is my 20th, 21st book or thereabouts.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I have a sense of
Yes.
storytelling
Yes.
and I can tell when things are working, when they're not working.
Yes.
But that doesn't
Yes.
mean I don't need other people to look at it and tell me,
Yeah.
saying this
Yeah.
sucks or you're not
Uh-huh.
making
Yeah.
it happen. You
Yeah.
know how that is. So,
Yes.
so
Yes.
getting back to you, do you have
Okay.
beta readers and stuff that you give your work to?
I used to,
Mhm.
and you know, but I think, let me see, what did I do? 12, 12, 15. I just finished the one I put out was my 15th Regency. And so kind of I feel like I have my readership,
Mhm.
right? They sort of know what to expect from me. They're kind of okay with what I give them, right? I mean, everyone has a hater, as I mentioned, but um,
I have
but but
two.
yeah, I think I have two too.
Uh,
So but uh but when I speak of my general reader base, they know what to expect. I know what to deliver. So I kind of actually have moved away from that. And it helps me because I am slow. It helps me cut a chunk of time off to just be like, I'm going to do my own editing. I have an English background as well. I'm going to do my own editing. Of course, I can't catch everything, but I catch most things
Hmm.
enough that people aren't offended, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and I can tell as well if something is really not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I have gone back and fixed it before I put it out in the world. So no, I don't do beta readers. I don't do arcs. I don't do.
That's, I mean, that's really good. But you have you've got that down. Me, this is my first Regency series. So I'm still like, do people like
Yeah.
are people gonna like this? And so far, people seem to like it. So that's a good
Yes.
thing. But
Yes.
I also, am not. My thing is, one of the reasons I love Mary Balogh, to get back to her, is that she deals
Yeah.
with more interesting real situations and stuff. And
Hmm. Hmm.
perhaps it's because I come from the historical fiction side, I can't just do a domestic thing. I always end
Hmm.
up
Hmm.
adding something to it. I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
the Sopranos Daring Duke is all about opera in 18th century in London, in Regency London. And I have a PhD in music history.
Oh,
And
wow.
and this was like, yes, yes, I can use that. And it was so much fun doing the research because I got to dig into the King's Theater and find out all this stuff about it. And anyway, I won't go deep into my research serendipities, um, but that is a subplot that takes a big chunk
Hmm.
of the
Yes.
book. And so that book was long. It was
Ah,
114,000 words.
wow.
Yes. And this one that I'm just finishing and starting to edit has falconry in it.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
So that's I don't take a place or a family or
Uh-huh.
whatever, but
Yeah.
I still have characters that are related
Yeah.
or somehow linked between
Hmm.
the stories. So,
Hmm.
but now, and this is something that I had to learn when I was doing this, it's very different from just straight whatever other genre you're doing, unless there are the same kinds of things in cozy mystery or something like that. But the tropes and beats, do you think about those
Hmm.
at all when you're writing your romances?
I feel like, I cling to the hope that things go in and out of fashion because I just can't seem to be fashionable. I feel like if there's a hot trope, I can't just seem to. I don't know. I don't know. I can't write a hot book. Um, so everyone loves enemies to lovers, and I've done a couple, where they
Mhm.
don't get along at first and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I just I can't make it the whole book. I
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
so yes. So I have little tropettes, right? Like if there's a fake relationship, it will take place maybe for a little chunk of it. Like if in my
Oh, I like
Ellsworth
that one in
series.
The Naturalist. Or no, wait,
Yes.
yes.
Um,
Well, sort of. Yeah, it was a fake friendship relationship.
so but just having it be it might come along in the book, but it's not the course of the whole book. Like in the last Hapgood book, there is a fake engagement, but really it doesn't come along till like two-thirds of the way through. It's not
Right, yeah.
the whole book.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm not really good at building around a trope. And what was the other thing you asked?
The beats, like,
Oh, the beats. Uh-huh. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've noticed, just to interrupt you for a second, I've noticed with your books that they do sort of follow a good romance arc, but like a good example of it, I'm not saying, oh, there's the meet cute. Oh, there's
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I've read lots of romance in my life, right? So I do know, I want them to meet pretty quickly. I don't like books, I don't like romances myself where it's like, come on, when is he coming, right? So
Mhm.
I kind of want them to meet quickly. I I personally don't like romances where everything is resolved and you still have 100 pages of
Oh,
what, right?
yeah, yeah.
Of just feeling great. I mean, I don't like those because I always feel like, no, sometimes people complain, right?
Mhm.
They'll be like, well, I wanted them to have another chapter or an epilogue where they're just being happy. And I think, well, okay, but I write in
No
series, right?
conflict there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll see them again, right? In a later book, you will see them again and see that, they're still happy, right? So, so yeah, I just, what is it called? It's like vibe reading or vibe, where it's just you'll see some, and there is a reader for every book. And so I am not the writer for these sorts of readers who are like, I just want to feel the feels and then just be happy for a long time. And
Mhm.
yeah, I like a conflict. I like a conflict and I like it resolved. And then, I don't want to spend 25 more pages on them riding off into the sunset, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
everything's been resolved. So,
Yes. Yeah,
so
I'm like
yeah.
that too. And I think sometimes I have to be careful because my books could come to a crashing halt. And it's like, wait a minute, I need to spend a little more time on this.
Right. So like maybe you'll get a couple paragraphs or a page,
Yeah,
right? But
right, exactly.
I
Or
I
yeah.
rem I remember I was reading a contemporary romance and everything was resolved, right? And I was like, what's going to happen now? So I kept waiting for the other shoe to fall because I thought surely there can't be this much book left with no conflict. And there was. There was that much book left and nothing happened.
Oh
I was
dear.
like, this is not for me. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I know. But as you say, and it's very refreshing to hear that, and it's something I love about romance, there are readers for every kind
Yes.
of book. I
Yes.
mean, I look at some of
Yes.
the subgenres and I go, who on earth
Yeah.
would be it? But
Right.
they are. They're
There
interesting.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like monster and alien romance is
Oh,
big right
yes.
now.
Yes.
And yeah.
Cozy horror. Cozy horror.
Does that
Yes.
mean like the blood and guts is off screen?
I have no idea what it means because I've
Okay.
never read one. But to me, it's just an oxymoron. I don't know.
It is an honor. I did try an alien romance because I
Mhm.
said, I want to know what this is about. And it was very well written, very funny, but there was lots of sex, but the sex was like, it
Gross.
was not for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear
So,
you. I
yeah.
hear you. Yeah. So what's next? What are you writing now? What are you working on?
What's next is I'm actually working on a contemporary romance right now. And I had the one traditionally published book, and it is another book with that publisher. It hasn't even been announced yet, but I am, and this one, oh, I mean, this one, I think I started four different times, and it was just not working.
Mm,
And then, on my penultimate iteration, it was getting too big. And it's like, no, I got to land this plane in 90,000 words, right? So it's like, why am I? And I was going off into stuff I knew nothing about, nothing. And
mm,
so, like, Christina, just rein it in. So now I'm on version 3, and it's still going to need a lot of work, but I'm about 28,000 words in, and I think this will work. And so yeah, that's what I'm working on. And I'm hoping, I think it's due in December, but I'm hoping to finish by October, November, so that I can get back to writing my next Regency. Because, as you know, in the self-published world, if you go way too long with no
oh yeah.
book,
No,
you
no.
just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. And that's one of the things that I challenged myself with my series is making
Uh-huh.
sure I brought things out regularly. I will
Uh-huh.
never be one of those rapid release people. I cannot do that. And I don't want my readers to expect me to do that either. But, hopefully I can keep up this pace that I've set
Mm-hmm.
as long as I
Mm-hmm.
keep getting excited about the books and
Yeah.
wanting to write them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's great. Because you've already got two out, and then so
I
if
have
you've
I have
just finished the
two,
fourth.
two full-length ones out. I have a,
Mm-hmm.
a holiday novella coming out
Ah, okay.
September. That was a
Okay.
challenge because I think in
Oh,
long form.
how
But
long was the novella?
it was 28,000 words.
Oh, okay.
So it's really short. But I used characters and sort of a setup
Mm-hmm.
from the first novel, so I didn't have to do all of that again, and
Mm-hmm.
and chose a very specific time period from 2 days before Christmas until Christmas Day. So with that, but of course I couldn't, it's anyway. It is what it is. It's getting some advanced reviews, which are good, which is nice, but it was a, a challenge for me to do that. I thought I can't do this. I can't do it. And then I did. So, but and I was thinking I would do follow number four with another novella, but I've been thinking, and I'm actually
Mhm.
thinking that I'm going to take characters from number four and make it into another long one with a later in life romance for
Ooh.
somebody, which and
Hmm.
but I don't know if you know anything. I always have two parallel romances, parallel and intertwined romances,
Hmm.
which because I stupidly decide that I'm going to do it the hard way, you know. But but see, I need that to keep me interested in the story too,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just
Hmm.
one single arc to
Uh-huh.
happy ending is wonderful when I'm reading it, but not when I'm writing it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So in the novella though, you surely didn't
No,
have time for
I
two.
didn't have
Okay.
I had one focus, but there was a
Uh-huh.
hint of another one
Okay.
that
Uh-huh.
was sort of a holdover from the previous book and the partner of the modiste who's and also it takes place in a lower class level than the
Hmm. Hmm.
higher ones.
Hmm.
Uh, she is she actually ends up giving birth to her first child during it. So it's sort of two things happening, although they're not both romances and
Yeah. Yeah.
very compressed. So,
Uh-huh.
and I had one advanced reader say, well, I gave it one less star because there was only one romance.
You already trained them.
I don't want to keep you on too long. This has been so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, I really have enjoyed hearing, obviously reading your books, but also hearing your talk at the conference and getting to talk to you one-on-one now is fantastic. And I will stay in touch and
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, it will be
No,
great.
send me this and let's yeah.